everybody. We are back with another fabulous episode of the Two Ps in the podcast. We had last week off, which we're going to get into why, but we hope that you're okay. Did you miss us? We missed you too. We did. For those that don't know us, where you been? But my name is Katie. I'm based here in the UK. And as ever, my very glamorous, very vampy co-host today is the gorgeous.
Hey guys, it's Jessica over here in America. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, you are rocking that lipstick. Seriously, it is a vampy as hell.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't wear this dark of a color very often. So like I told you, Milo saw me and he like stopped in his tracks. So I was like, do I really look that different?
Did you? You look like you're going on some kind of hot date or something. But hey, if it's for me, I'm very privileged. So thank you, darling.
It's all for you. And no hot dates to speak of.
No, sadly not. But hey, at least we have each other, right?
Yeah. Honestly, one of the things that we're going to talk about is like my obsession with a book right now, and that's about the hottest date that I have.
You got more action than I got going on. You know what I mean? I think my relationship at the moment is grocery store and taking my trash out. So yay!
Yeah. Hey, you never know where you could meet or who you could meet. Excuse me. On the term.
Where, who, where, which, what?
The trash in the bin. You know, your robe ruffling in the wind. The faint smell of garbage around you. How can you resist? I don't know.
Stop it. You're getting me going. Stop it. So, with that rousing, today we're kind of chill because that's the mood that we're in. And we just thought that we would do like a catch up because it's been 2 weeks. And as we said before we start recording, we have a lot that happens every day. So we have things that have been happening, things that personal lives, our private lives. So we thought we'd just come along and sit and chat with you guys, really, and let you know everything that's been going on. So yeah, how can so much happen in 2 weeks? It's insane.
Yeah, well, you know, when you are single parents, running a business, dealing with several spiritual awakenings happening at once, you know, kids, it's just like holidays and birthdays and everything. It's just a lot. I will go first if you want to.
Sure. I was going to say, speaking of birthdays, I know that there's a big birthday in the house tomorrow.
Yes. Milo is turning 9. For the better part of a week, I thought he was turning 10. So that tells you where my head has been at. I was like, uh-oh, Milo, you're leveling up double digits. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to be 9. I was like, give me grace, please. And the worst part about it is that I had bought some decorations and a birthday card that both had 10, happy birthday or 10. So I had to return those to Amazon, and then I had to go buy the proper decorations. I'm like, it's okay. I'm still a good parent. I just have a lot going on.
Yeah. And like I said to you, at least you realized before the actual day itself, right? You don't hand the card over and be like, oh no.
Man, if I had not had that conversation with him, I was this close to actually that. Because literally, his birthday sign was going to say, bruh, I'm 10.
You could have put like a little arrow and go, nearly. To be fair, that's probably what I would have done. But hey, that's just more about me, I think.
Funny, like almost, you know. Like this morning when I went and checked on him to see if he was awake and ready for breakfast, I was like, look at you, nearly 9. And he started smiling. I'm like, yeah, I love him. He's my little angel.
But guy, we know.
Yeah, he's everything. But no, he's turning 9 and we're having a birthday party and having the family. Well, what family I have coming over. And also another thing with him this week was he had his AB honor roll celebration. So this kid always gets AB honor roll every single term. So, but we still like to celebrate it like it's the first time, you know. And yeah, it was super exciting and just super proud of him.
Oh, yeah, the guy's a little genius, right? You know, he's so bright.
It's funny because we went to my dentist and we went to his dentist in the last 2 weeks. And his dentist asked him what's his favorite subject. And he said math. And he's like, you know, because kids don't normally say that. And the dentist looked at me and he's like, my favorite subject was definitely not math. And I'm like, yeah, clearly he's not my kid because I don't even sometimes I worry about like with his math homework. I'm like, of course, I'm like, you know, if you need help, let me know. But I'm like silently praying that he doesn't need help because I don't know. I don't know if I have a 3rd grade math level, to be honest with you. But he never needs help.
Which is awesome. I mean, you know, and I know that, yeah, maths isn't my strong point either. And my daughter and I used to get into terrible rows on a Sunday, as you remember, because I'd be like, I'm sick of this on the moment, and then found an app and I hold my hands up because I just can't. And it's for all of AI's stuff, which we know AI is problematic, it has its plus points, and one of them is there's an app where you can screenshot the question and it gives you the answer. And I was like, that there you go, there's your help.
There's part of me that completely understands why you do that, but then there's another part of me that's like, there's people right now in like medical school and law school that are doing that exact same thing. These people are going to be doing open heart surgeries. I'm like, as the kids would say, we're totally cooked, you know?
So cooked. So this generation, man, I swear, it's terrifying. But anyway, we can't worry about that one today. It's got too much going on.
It's like every time that Milo tells me he's going to do a selfie from the moon, I'm like, you are so a part of your generation, whether you like it or not. Like, that's your first thought of the moon is, I'm going to send my mom a selfie. Hey, mom, I'm on the moon, right? It's hilarious. Kids. Indeed. Like, knock that off the list. So let's talk about you for a little bit. What's been going on with you, little lady?
Yes, as we mentioned at the top, obviously there was no episode last week, and that is on me, which is fine because your girl had some stuff going on. When do I not have stuff going on? Last Friday, I got to go and watch a tribute act to the awesome rock band Queen. They were the bomb. They were, oh my God, they were so good. They were so good. We went to watch one in the summer for the Beatles, which were good, but these guys were like, if that was like a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, these guys were a 10. Like, you would swear it was Freddie Mercury reincarnated. This guy was insane. Like, he had the voice, he had the moves, he had the mannerisms. It was just phenomenal. And the guy being Brian May on lead guitar, it's just listening to him alone when he was guitar soloing was just like, it was such a good atmosphere. Everyone was on their feet, clapping and cheering and dancing. It was such a good night.
That's awesome. And Queen is, I mean, I know it was just, cover or whatever, but yeah. Queen is amazing. They have amazing music. It was funny because when you're telling me that your daughter Izzy didn't want to go, I'm like, who doesn't want to go see Queen? Like, like, that's awesome.
Like, Izzy would spend her time going to watch Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter, a British band called Little Mix, or her latest obsession is K-pop Demon Hunters. If I hear that song Golden one more time, I'm going to jump out the window. Like, seriously, I think I know it off by heart by this point.
I don't know anything about that. I'm blissfully unaware because obviously I have a boy. Yes. And my daughter is too old for that. So, yes.
Yes, it's a whole thing. And of course, Izzy being autistic gets hyperfixation. So when she loves something, she really loves something. So she claims she's watched that movie at this point about 15 times. And it came out in summer.
Yeah. I resonate with that, honestly, because I get hyper fixated on things that I like too. Like the better part of last week, I was replaying that song by Billie Eilish, Ocean Eyes, like over and over and over, just because that's how it is. When I find a song that I like, I listen to it a million times.
I get it. So yeah, that was the Friday. And on the Saturday, your girl had her women's event. Yes, she did. I had my yearly women's event, and it's been a whole thing. You know, and I know it's been a whole ass thing. So for those that don't know, because I don't assume everyone knows who I am yet, I have ran a women's event here in the UK since 2019. And so this was the 6th year I've done it. The only year I didn't do it was, of course, COVID, because obviously you couldn't be meeting in person. Somebody asked me at that point if I do it online. I was like, nah, because if you're online, we both know we've done online workshops and courses. Like, you try and be present, but you're in your house, so you've got your kids or your dog's barking or the washing machine's bleeping or like this distraction, right? Whereas if you're in person with like-minded people, it's very present. So I didn't do it in COVID, but I've done it every year since, and Jess will tell you, and every year it's exactly the same. Up until the week before, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. It says Jess, well, I hate this. I come home from the event and I'm like, let's do it again. That was awesome. Every year.
Yeah, but to your credit, this year was particularly like there were a lot of things that happened this year with Rise that haven't happened in the previous years.
Yeah, fair. And it's not just my event. I mean, I was taking it personally there for a minute. I was really kind of personalizing it. But I know that events have been really struggling throughout the board this year because obviously people just haven't got the same money on the hip that they could spend. So tickets were selling, but they were really slow. like really slow, and I was starting to panic. Really, I mean, I did that kind of ostrich head in the sand for a while. You know, that kind of it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine, until I realized that it really wasn't fine. And it was about a month before the event. I sent my speakers on WhatsApp. I tried to do it in one message, but because I kept crying, I would like have to like stop recording, go and have a cry, get myself sorted and come back. And so I sent them 4 messages of just me crying, basically. And it was all like, I mean, talk about, I know that you're going to talk about stuff later on, but talk about, you know, really facing yourself and having that moment of really kind of reflection, I suppose, because I realized I was carrying so much shame.
Yeah.
So much shame that somehow, because tickets were not selling, that was my fault. And it was something that I had done wrong. And I had let everyone down. And it was all me, 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 me. And I'm like, because I had, as you know, taken it this year from a 1-day event to a 2-day event, which just wasn't happening. So then I'm going, you know, I feel like I've let you all down. And you know, if you, I'm going to take it back to a 1-day event, but you know, if you don't want to be a speaker with me anymore, I understand. Like, it's fine. It was all, it was like, I was like a 15-year-old girl. Like, seriously, Katie, get a fucking grip. But they were great. Not only did they all rally around me with grace and compassion and so much love, they were also like, yeah, of course we're going to come and work with you, duh. And then one of my speakers, as you know, messaged me and said, how would you feel if somebody came to you and offered you like an investment opportunity or something like that where you could offer tickets for free? How would that feel? And I was like, okay, number one, I believe in the energy of exchange, right? So I believe that what you put out in the world, you should get something back to keep the scales balanced. I am a Libra after all. And it doesn't have to be money. It can be time. It can be energy. It can be something. It has to be give and take, right? Number two, having been self-employed since 2018, I know that people don't always value free stuff in the same way they do when they pay for it. It's just the reality. You and I both have readings done for free and they don't show. And it's unbelievably frustrating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not so much anymore, I know, but still. But number three, which overrode the first two, was like, look, my original intention for Rise was it's all about women's empowerment. It's about helping women to recognize their power, their magic, and to live their best lives for themselves. And I recognize that because I'm a single parent and I have to pay for the room, that was really frightening me that I had to cover that cost. And so I was leading the marketing and the promotion with that underlying energy of fear. So if somebody could come in and obviously cover that cost, yeah, I would offer tickets for free because that way I could get back to the original intention of the event. Anyway, she told me that she runs a charity here in this part of the country to try and end food poverty. And she said, I love what you're trying to do. That so much that not only am I still coming, despite the fact it was her daughter's birthday on the same day, by the way, but also that she would sponsor the event for £100 and asked me to go and speak to the other speakers and say, look, this is the idea. How would you all feel about putting £10 in the pot to cover the cost? And that way it could become a collaborative event rather than my event. So again, I went to them and I just gave them the idea, no pressure. You know, if you don't want to, if you can't, it's fine. And they all came and put money in. Even a lady that couldn't come over because of Brexit and her visa, she still put money in the pot because she believed in what I was doing. So last Saturday we went and it went from like 4 tickets to over 40 tickets. The room was full. It was probably the best event I've ever done. And that's not an over exaggeration, truly. One woman, she'd never sang in public before and she wants to sing and she sang for us for the first time. I was crying. Some of the audience were crying. Such a beautiful voice. So just angelic.
Yeah.
We did a fashion show where I was emceeing because, you know, you girls got that on the mic. Mm-hmm. And one of my speakers had her drum and she was doing the beat. And one of the women that wanted to walk down, she got really nervous. So 2 of the other women, unprompted, took her arms either side and walked down with her to give her that confidence. I was just like, something's happening in the room. We raised £135 for a women's charity here, which is the most I've ever raised. Like, it was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful and showed me what's possible here, especially because I realized that I've fallen into hyper independence, which I know you're going to be like, well, fucking duh. I know you are, Katie, but hey, sometimes we have to literally, it's not enough to hear it. We have to be shown, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it's like, I feel like this is the whole essence of Rise,
Yeah.
which is women coming together to collaborate and support each other. So the idea that all of these years you've kind of been holding this all on your back, doing it by yourself, is actually really counterintuitive to what the event was about. And so I love that breakthrough moment that you had when that woman stepped forward and she was like, I'm here to help. And then when all the other women gather around you, it's like, it's a real, and it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it, because it's like, it's a real sense of community, which is exactly what Rise is.
Exactly.
Yeah. And being hyper independent, I know that it's hard for you to sometimes accept help, but also that comes from the feeling of feeling let down before.
Yeah.
When people weren't able to help you and you did depend on them. But also I feel like there's an element there of like not really thinking that anybody would care enough to help. And they did.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, you know, anything to do with money, from a psychological point of view, is to do with self-worth.
Yeah.
Right? Anything to do with money. Money is tied to self-worth. So, and I know that's one of my underlying core wounds, which has been an ongoing thing. But yeah, I understand that. I understand that, you know, do I value myself? Do I think other people value me as much as I want them to value me? It's a big thing. And you're right, other people have let me down in the past.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, things happen. Look, I had a lady this year who, you know, she had the most awful chest infection. And she literally couldn't say 2 words without coughing her guts up. So of course she couldn't speak, right? One woman, her story was going to be about miscarriage. And then she's pregnant again. So when her iron levels dropped, like I was going, and she was like literally on the phone to me sobbing, going, I really want to come. And I was like, I can't let you. I can't. You know, your story's about miscarriage, you're pregnant, your iron levels have dropped. I can't let you in that room.
Yeah.
If anything happens, I would never forgive myself. So no, I can't. You know, it's like things happen, which, you know, I'm never going to be like angry about or judgmental about. It's when people let you down just because, like, they don't say it, but you get this impression of like, again, they haven't taken it seriously and they can't be asked.
Yeah.
You know, so that kind of, that perpetuating cycle of you feeling like, well, people, I can't ask people for help because I don't feel like they value it or me, and then they just walk away from it, and it's like confirming what you already think.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like how other people treat you or act is so little a reflection of you and more a reflection of them. But we, of course, as humans, we have our own bullshit and things that we're dealing with, so we internalize that. And we've talked about this before many times over the years, where people would drop out last minute. It's wildly inconvenient and inconsiderate. And we've talked about you charging some kind of small deposit fee to make it worth your time, because you are putting all of this together. You're advertising, you're marketing these people, you're putting their name out that they're going to be there. People are buying tickets, expecting to see these speakers. And then if they don't show up, it's like, it's not just like, well, oopsie, I didn't have time. It's like people are depending on you to be there. Yeah. So, you know, and you never really wanted to do that because you wanted Rise to be something that was like, you know, just wasn't about that. But I'm so happy that this year that you did, and you had that breakthrough moment of like, you can actually ask them to invest something in this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about balance. I mean, I've seen people on social media asking for speakers, and that's the amount of money they're asking of speakers is insane.
Yeah.
I saw one today and she was charging, well, she was asking for $1,700, which is about £1,500 to speak, which I think to me is ridiculous, because at that point, what you're doing is you're saying that women can only share their stories if they can afford it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's, to me, is, I wouldn't trust that. That's giving like red flag.
Massively. But to me, yeah, I mean, obviously, like this time I asked for £10 each, which they did, which is about $13, $14. So I think a little amount is, like you say, and it's also non-refundable. So if anything does happen, then, you know, I keep the money, kind of thing. And like I say, it's all just, it's an investment. It's an investment in me, it's an investment in them, and it's an investment in the event.
Yeah, because anytime that you're paying for something, you're going to automatically take it more seriously because you don't want to lose that money. But I feel like it's a nice fee for me, I feel like, because it's not something that where if something happens last minute and they can't show up, it's not the end of the world. $13, $14 is not massive in the big scheme of your life, you know? So I think that I just think that this Rise in particular has been revolutionary for what we can achieve. I know I said we, like it's my thing too, and it's not, but what we can achieve moving forward with Rise, like where we can take it moving forward, you know?
I still want to do a massive event. I mean, I asked one lady, said, what's your ultimate goal? And I said, look, big dream. I would love for this to be like a massive thing, not only in the UK, but also take it stateside. I would love, because I see how many women, they tell me, are you coming to America? And I'm like, there's no plans as of yet, but yeah, one day I'd love to. But I also recognize that I'm going to help to do a bigger
Yeah.
event because I cannot do that on my own. I will literally have a breakdown.
Yeah. I mean, it might be something for us to think about in the future if you're willing to come to Florida. I mean, I'd obviously love to collaborate and,
Yeah.
and do that with you. But this is, of course, often the future. We'll just have to see where things take us and where things go. But yeah, this rise was interesting from the outside perspective to watch. Like, it was an interesting thing. So
yeah, it was definitely an interesting thing to go through it.
that it was. You had about 15 breakdowns, and I walked you off the cliff about 3 times. And it's funny too, because I was going to mention this, but we were talking about other things. How we measure success as humans.
Mm.
Because when I look at you, I see a massively successful person. I see somebody who has strived and persevered and refused to give up, and you're innovative and you're always coming up with new ideas, and you take the punches of life, and maybe you don't have as much recognition as you deserve, and maybe you don't make as much as you would like to make. But that doesn't, in my eyes, make you any less of a success. But I understand, especially with working with several of the clients that I do, and of course my own experiences, we measure our success by how much recognition we get, how much money we're bringing in. I mean, you've heard me tons of times with my own YouTube channel with numbers being like, well, it didn't get that much views. Maybe I'm bullshit. Maybe I'm full of shit. Maybe they don't really like me. And it's like, So I understand that. I feel like this has been a huge lesson for you this year too with Rise, is like your success cannot just be measured in the material earthly aspects of things.
Absolutely. To recognize the breakthroughs for women in that space, and how they've been able to, like, there was one thing with a vision board at the end, and it wasn't like the typical vision board of like, what do you want for the next 12 months. It's how do you carry this energy and take it home? How do you remind yourself of this when you're in your own life? And one woman, funny enough, is one of my clients, one of my coaching clients, and so we had a follow-up call this week, and she said, you know what I put on my vision board? And I went, no. I said, what did you put down? And she said, I want to be on this podcast that she kind of holds in really high esteem. And also, what was the other thing she wanted? See, it's gone out my brain now. There was something else. I can't remember. But I said to her, okay. She said, oh, yeah, but I can't do that. I said, well, okay. Why? And she went, it's too big. I went, okay, what do we do when something's too big? If I gave you a whole pie right now and said, eat that pie, what would you automatically do? You wouldn't just shove it in your face, would you, and try to eat the whole thing in one go? You would cut it up into smaller pieces. Well, if it's a big dream, cut it up. Do it. So what do you have to do first? By the end of that call, she's making those visions happen. I shared a message with me the other day, and she is literally doing the bite-sized pieces, and things are happening, things are moving. And to kind of hold that and identify what she wanted, and then to start to break it down and actually make things happen. Yeah, that's a powerful thing.
Yeah, I think the takeaway here is you need to coach yourself like you coach your clients.
Yeah, all right. Do as I say and not as I do, girl.
Well, just saying. We'd be putting out less fires, my love, if we were doing that. I'm speaking to myself here, trust me. But that is one of the brilliant parts about, I feel like, doing what we do, and like being coaches, being healers, being motivators, whatever you want to look at it as. It's like we learn as we go. We learn as we help. We learn things about ourselves. And that's just, amazing. So
thank you. I want to take a minute to just give you a round of applause, Mrs. Because check you out with 30K subscribers on your YouTube channel. Get you, girl. I'm so proud of you. Proud of you.
Thank you. And you know what's crazy is I didn't even put that on the list for the things that have happened in the last 2 weeks. I know. I don't know. It's very surreal and it's very humbling, because when I first started this YouTube, as you know, I didn't even think I would get like 5,000, 10,000. Like, for me to get that much would be amazing and like a dream. But here we are, 30K.
Imagine being on a stage and 30,000 people are in front of you.
I would not come out.
I know you wouldn't.
I would hide in the back, I'd be like, so like, oh my God.
You'd be going, Katie, go and talk to them. Katie's like, just talk to them.
Like, hi, right? No, it's so crazy, because it's like, even if I was to have like 100 people in this house, 200 people in this house, like, there's no way. It's just so mind blowing to think that there's 30,000 people that appreciate what I have to say or interested in what I have to say or subscribe so they can get the messages. It's just crazy. And it's a testimony to honestly like spirit and like the power of that message that comes through, because I couldn't do this without, it's like literally it's all about spirit to me personally. It's like, it's less about me and my success and more about the messages that the divine wants to get through and how people want to receive the messages. Like to me, that's just so special and so important.
I hear you, but I also have a message of literally this in my head, right? It's like, don't downplay yourself, okay?
I know, I know. What can I say? I can be humble. And then when I get a little bit of confidence, people swear I'm cocky. So I don't know. I try to be humble, but either way, I'm happy with it. And I'm looking forward to, my dream. My dream is 100,000 because I want that plaque. I want that YouTube plaque so bad I can taste it.
I know.
I'm going to literally cuddle with that thing and sleep with that plaque for like, that's like, if I ever have a man in my bed, he's going to have to make sure that there's room in the middle because that plaque will be right there, because I want it so bad. And because it represents more than just, oh, I have 100,000 subscribers. It represents all the blood, the sweat, the pain, the tears, just all the swirls of emotions and intensity that has went into this YouTube experience. I don't say this very often in life, as you know, but I feel like I deserve it. Like I deserve that plaque and I want that plaque, Yeah. So it's a slow crawl to the summit, but we're going to keep going. And if it ever happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I would like to have it. So
it'll happen. I feel it in my water. It'll happen.
I think that YouTube should give like a 50,000 subscriber plaque. That's a lot of people. Like, that's a lot of people. So, but whatever. I don't make the rules up, obviously.
I mentioned it to my youngest son, Alfie, and he went, "Well, she got a plaque then?" And I went, "No, she doesn't get onto 100K." And he was like, "What? That's stupid." I was like, well, there's YouTube for you. No, we're on YouTube right now, so, no hate, but still.
We ain't monetized, girl. Like, we don't have to.
I know, but still, it is what it is. But yes, we I still think you should get more recognition than perhaps you do. But hey, I'm your best. I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah. Well, I want to switch gears for a second because the last thing that I'm going to talk about is the realizations that I've had this week. But before we get into that heavy stuff, I want to talk about my book obsession.
Talk about hyperfixation. This girl, I've been getting messages every day with plot lines, character. I feel like I'm living this fantasy. So go on, share it with the world.
I am obsessed with this book. So first of all, it's called like The Vampire Prince or whatever on this app that I have. And what is the app called? I can't go out of here, but it's like Listen FM or something like that. But I had found out, because I'm pretty much at the halfway point of this book, I found out that this book was actually it's like a different book. It's actually called Spellbound. And it's a book that's been published. And it's kind of crappy because they took her book and they changed the title and changed the author. And it's kind of like, you know what I mean? But it led me to looking up the book, because once you get to a certain point in this book, you're going to have to pay to continue to listen to it. And I'm like, so I went ahead and found her, and I'm like, I would much rather just pay the money to her and support the creator than support people who are pirating her work anyway. So I bought the book from Barnes & Noble. It should be here in about a week. And it's Spellbound, by Kazzen LX. So for anybody listening who wants to read the book, it's KAZZENLX. This book, I am obsessed with this book. I cannot tear myself away from this. It's really like so nostalgic, because when I was younger, as we've talked about already, I would really like romance stories. Spirit's been doing its damnedest to like thaw out my heart lately, because I just lost all interest for romance stories. I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. But I've gotten back into it, and this book is amazing. Basically, I don't want to give too much away, but it's this girl that has to get married off to a vampire prince. She has no choice. It's to save, the kingdoms from being in war and everything. And of course, he's like super sweet, even though he's really feared by everybody, and he's gentle and he takes his time with her. And of course, there's like different little plot things, and to keep it exciting, and there's character development, which I really like. But I had this realization about this, and I haven't actually mentioned this to you. It doesn't have anything to do with the deeper realization that I had this past week or two, but I really like the fantasy of a man who tries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's something about this their story, because the character's name, her name is Evie and his name is Gavin, and she calls him Gav. And he really goes above and beyond to show her that he cares and that she's special. And he's patient with her. And he understands, like, when she has these, like, emotional moments because of her own things that she's going through. Like, he doesn't just go, oh, well, fuck you, bitch, right? And then be done. He's, like, very understanding and patient and just tries. And I realize in such a sad way that that's what I've been lacking with men. And I think that that's why it's a fantasy. I get treated a lot by men like I'm an afterthought. It's take it or leave it. I'm not going to try with you. You either take the breadcrumbs and the bare minimum that I give you, or it's nothing at all. And I know that I'm not going to just sit here and only blame the men, because I know that people are mirrors and reflections of what we're dealing with inside.
Yeah.
Which is part of some of the realizations that I've had. Like, I wasn't valuing myself, so I was attracting people who were going to reflect that back so I could learn that lesson. I mean, I get the whole semantics of the spiritual growth and everything. I know. I do this for a living. I know. But it's different when you know versus doing, and you know that. Yeah. We can know things, but then actually applying that lesson to our own lives is different. So I'm like, why am I so entranced with this guy and this girl and this love story of them? And it just hit me. It's like, because he's giving her what I desperately want to see in a man. Like, I don't need to be your only priority, but to show up in a way where you're acting like you actually give a shit is and isn't that kind of sad, though? Like, this is how romance is nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, the bar is so low, it's in hell, right? Like, literally, the bar is so low.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, we're not... See, this is the thing. I'm sure, and I'm aware that I'm about to generalize before anybody calls me out in the comments. But I think that there's a lot of men that assume women want, like, over 6 foot, buffed, bodybuilder thing, and over a certain amount of money a year. And this is like the criteria women have. And if you don't meet that criteria, then I'm sorry, we're not interested. That's actually not true. Actually, what women want is somebody who is kind, somebody who is present, somebody who, like I say, puts in the effort, somebody who is respectful. Like, the bar is so low.
Yeah. And I think that's also... when we step into the man's shoes, this is what they've been taught their value is.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, how women have been taught that our value is in our beauty and then our sex, and, this is what men have been taught their value is in. So they assume that this is what's important to us because that's what they've been taught is important. Is how much money you're making, how tall you are, how big your D is, which that is not... Listen. I'm not going to say that it's not important, but it's just neither here nor there. But I feel like...
You were trying to make a really heartfelt point, and you were like, well, yeah.
It is important, but also, you got 10 fingers and a tongue, and we can work with that. We really can. But anyways, I just think that there's such a disconnect between women and men, and because maybe what we think that men value is absolutely wrong, too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I meet very little men who can be open and emotional and vulnerable about what their wants and needs are when it comes to a relationship and women. It's this whole act and game of wearing masks and kind of... It reminds me of, like, on the beach when you see little crabs and they're, like, scurrying sideways. It's like, we don't want to go directly at the issue. We want to kind of do this little dance. And I don't give a fuck about that, as you know. So I don't know. I've consigned myself basically, or if that's the right word, to... I'm not really... Like, romance right now, I'm okay with it just being in the book. Like, in the book. Because I don't know how I feel about men right now. I don't know how I feel about relationships. I don't know. And so if Mr. Right, if that exists, was to come up to me right now, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I've been through a lot, and it's just like, I think I'd rather just live in the fantasy of the book for right now.
Yeah, which is absolutely fine and fair to say that. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you weird or broken. It's just a lot of it is boundaries and your safety. And if this feels safe for you right now, then it is what it is,
I'm trying to also work through my own stuff because, like, let's just talk about, like, the realization that I had this realization that while I am very independent and secure as a woman, as you know, because let's just be honest, we've been friends for almost 12 years now. How often do we really talk to each other about men and wanting relationships?
No, we don't. We get lonely from time to time, but that's normal. But aside from that, no, most of the time we're talking about work and kids.
Yeah, it's very, or spiritual stuff or
Yeah,
healing or whatever. Like, it's very rare that we actually bring up men, or like, we're not sitting here fiending for a relationship. So I know this about myself. Like, I know that I am not somebody who has to be in a relationship, needs to be in a relationship, needs to have a man. I've been single for a very long time. I've been single and celibate for a very long time. And I've had a couple opportunities to break that celibacy if I wanted to.
yeah,
I've chosen to stay single. I've chosen to stay celibate. So I know that I'm independent. I know that I'm secure. I know that I go through a lot of the things in my life on my own. Illnesses, sad times, family drama, just things going on. I go through a lot of this on my own, and I know that. But also, I do believe that there is a part of me that is codependent too. And this was very triggering for me because I don't like hearing things like, oh, well, you're being needy, you're being clingy. It triggers me so deeply because it goes against with how I actually view myself, because I
yeah,
don't view myself as a clingy, needy person.
yeah,
Actually, if you ask any of my exes that have been like in my true relationships, they'll tell you she's actually not needy or clingy at all. Like, I give a lot of freedom and space because I feel secure. But I noticed that this goes hand in hand with this abandonment wound and this rejection wound that I carried from my childhood. Maybe a lot of you know, maybe that you don't, those that are watching. But my mother was sexually assaulted, and that's how I came to be. So I'm the only one in my family that's like me. I have always been different, even if I wasn't necessarily treated different. Though when I think back to my childhood, there were ways that I was treated different. There were things that were said about me and how I was brought into this planet. And so there's this thing inside of me that wants to be chosen. There's
yeah,
this thing inside of me that feels instantly rejected and doesn't feel good enough. It feels like I have to overexert and I have to prove myself to be worthy of just the bare minimum, because I don't know, maybe I look at myself as like a burden. Maybe because of like my childhood, like I was a burden, even though my mom, bless her heart, would have never said this to me. And she never said to me that I was a burden, a mistake, any of that stuff. She never said that. I still felt that way inside. I'm thinking like that was how I was processing, is that like my mom had to go through an amount of pain and shame and trauma to have me. Obviously, I'm a problem, right? Or there's something there with that. So I realized that this doesn't happen with every single guy that I meet. This happens every once in a while, and it's usually men who are avoidant, where I get into this dynamic where I feel suddenly like I need to prove,
yeah,
and I need to overextend, and I need to be something to be chosen.
yeah,
And if they'll choose me, I will be worthy.
yeah,
And this will be real love. And this will be like, you know what I mean? So my realization was basically that this and that are true. I can be a strong, independent woman who does not need a man, does not
yeah,
need a relationship. And I'm honestly okay with not ever having a relationship for the rest of my life. As you know, I've made peace with that years ago, that I might
yeah,
never meet anybody. That's something that I made peace with. So I wasn't waiting for some specter to come in that doesn't exist, a ghost, right? But also at the same time that I have this need inside to be chosen, and that needs to be checked,
yeah,
because I have to choose myself. I have to show up for myself. Me being chosen or selected or rejected or abandoned or any of these things does not equate to my worth in any kind of way. So before I even try to think about being in a relationship, and of course we can't control things. So if a guy comes in, he comes in, right? But I would like to be vibrating at a level of, even if I met the king of avoidance, it wouldn't matter because I've already chosen myself. So if you don't choose me, you clearly got issues because you don't recognize a good fucking thing in front of you when you see it, sir. Okay? Because I have a lot to offer in a relationship, and not just sex. Like, I have a lot to offer.
it's so
So,
true.
yeah.
It's so true, and I'm really proud of you for having that realization because, yeah, I like you. I've been single for a really long time, and I like to think now that if somebody came in and gave me some fuckboy red flag energy, that I would just be like, "Well, bye." No, I can sit here without that happening to me directly and go, "Well, obviously, I don't care. If he wants to leave, leave. There's the door. I'm not bothered. So I'm not going to beg for your attention. Bye bye." But it's easy to say that when you're not going through it, right? And how it will show up is when, if and when actually happens, if I can actually walk the talk again. So I can say it, but I will actually follow through and do it. Because in the past, no, I have, again, I've personalized it, I've made it about me. But I've done, I can say I've done a lot of healing, a lot of growth, a lot of, as you know, I've done therapy, I've done all the things. So I like to think things would be different. But again, until we're tested in real time, how do we know?
I find that when spirit wants you to learn the lessons, it will do that through soulmates, which is why we talked about this in an episode. I forget which one, but I know it was a very controversial statement that I made, that the people who trigger you on this planet the most and test you the most are probably your closest allies on the other side.
Yeah.
Because they're teaching you fundamental truths and lessons about yourself that you're not going to get through kindness. You're not going to get through love. You're not going to get through, all the things that we want. They're going to teach you through pain, because that's how a lot of us grow out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I found that when Spirit has wanted me to learn this lesson, because Spirit has wanted me to learn this lesson for a while, I feel that very strongly. It sends me somebody that I have that intense connection with. Yeah. Where it's like, because if it was just any Joe Schmo, who gives, I wouldn't even bat an eyelash, I wouldn't even care. I have to have that intense connection to go, oh my gosh, and have my heart kind of swell for a second and be like, could this be the mystical one, right? Like, could this be? And then, of course, that makes me start to lower my standards and lower my boundaries a little bit and give more than I should. And, so I don't know how I feel about a lot of this. I just know the realizations that I've had, that while I am independent, I can also be codependent too. And I'm also trying to shift the blame off of these men. Now, I'm not condoning any actions that have been done, because grown, mature men should know there's a way to show up in a connection or treat somebody with respect and kindness. Absolutely. Yes. So I'm not taking anything off of them. I just don't want to walk around in this victim mindset of like, oh God, all men do is hurt me and all they do is this, and, fuck those guys because they didn't do this. It's like, girl, you say to people all the time, your clients, it's nobody else's job to respect your boundaries. It's your job to respect your boundaries, because it's your boundaries. You can't expect somebody to know when the line is there, not to cross it. That's your job. So anytime that they have taken too much is because you've given too much.
Yeah.
Point blank, period. And this is hard to be. This is for those who are wondering what the definition of shadow work is, this is it right here. This is when you're looking at yourself, no bullshit, taking the mask off and being like, you look like a proud mom right now. I can't with your face.
I'm just like, oh, I'm so proud of you. It's so cool.
I know, because this has been a long time coming for me. And I'm so thankful for the last guy that really showed me this. I'm thankful for him. I have like so much love in my heart for him, because though he was an asshole, I feel like in some ways, he also wasn't trying to be. It's just that this was the dynamic and this is what it was. And so that's where I'm at right now, basically. And like I said, I'm still landing on some of the realizations. I'm still kind of like dissecting this, but yeah, just knowing that this and that can be true.
Yeah. I say it to my clients all the time. We are not single cell organisms that have one basic emotion at one time. So I've had clients over the years going to me, well, how can I be like, for example, let's do the basics. How can I be happy and sad at the same time? They are opposing emotions. How can they both sit in my brain at the same time? And I go, well, because your brain is the most sophisticated computer in the universe, as far as we know so far. So you're kind of doing yourself a disservice to say that you can only hold one emotion or one truth at any one time. The brain doesn't work like that. The brain is able to hold multiple things, multiple contradictory things at the same time. And that's why I always say this and that are true at the same time. So yes, you can be happy and you can also be sad. You can be happy that you're sad. You can be sad that you're happy. Like we start to really get into how you feel and why, you realize what an absolute contradictory, complex mess we all absolutely are.
Yeah, it reminds me of like when my mom had passed away. I remember it was like a week or two after she passed away. I was listening to music and I started finding myself singing and dancing around the house, and I stopped and I was like, your mother just unexpectedly passed away. Yep. Why in the world would you be dancing and singing around your house?
Yeah.
Because it's exactly what we said. This and that can be true. You can have those. And plus, my mom would want me to. That's the thing, right? Life is so overly complicated, and I don't. It's like a 4 out of 5, or no, 4 out of 10 recommend. I would not.
No, absolutely not. No. What I will also say is that you can't really change anything in life.
Yeah.
unless you're willing to be honest with yourself and admit that there is something not working. Now, that the extreme of that, of course, is like addiction. So, for example, you can put an alcoholic into AA, but unless they're willing to admit they have a problem, they'll come back out and start drinking again.
Yeah.
It's like you have to admit that something is not working with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself and say, no, there's something that I can do here. There's something that I can change. And
Yeah.
it's that first and most important realization, most important truth that will then take you forward from there. And it's not about you figuring this all out in one day or 1 week or 1 month or 1 year. You are a work in progress. This is the rest of your life. The fact is you've started this, which is huge, right? So whatever wants to land and when it wants to land, it will.
I think that I've been circling around this truth for a while, like, because, like I said, being called codependent, being called clingy, being called needy, these things were heavily triggering for me because I did not want to see that about myself, because that's not how I see myself. I don't see myself as clingy and needy.
Exactly.
So once I could actually allow myself to see that truth of that, yes, you can be needy, you can be clingy, you can be codependent in certain circumstances because of these wounds. Okay. And you know as well as I, doing this coaching and the spiritual work that we do, we tell people if you vibrate at a certain level, you're going to attract things. So I'm approaching this with if I had a goal of this, because I don't know if I do, but if I had a goal of this in mind, I would approach this in the way of, I'm going to work my hardest to heal this wound for me, and we'll see what that changes. Because you also know as well as I that we don't attract people just for our lessons. We also attract them for their lessons too.
Yeah.
And of course, I can't sit back and say that any of the men that I've dealt with in this way, which hasn't been very many, I don't want people to be like, what the hell? It hasn't been very many. It has been a few. Have actually learned lessons or have taken the time to self-reflect. I don't know, but I can't worry about that. That's their journey. That's their situation with spirit. So we will see.
We will see. We will see. And what you said a minute ago is absolutely spot on. Whatever is triggering you in life, that is shadow work, and that is a call for you to heal something. So if you're watching this right now and something in your life is triggering you, bothering you, upsetting you, making you feel uncomfortable, rather than facing away from it, because that energy only gets bigger and louder and more persistent, as me and Jess both tell you, you do have to have some point when you're ready, turn around and face it and go, okay, what? But it's starting to, again, it's honesty, it's self-compassion, it's grace, it's patience, it's giving yourself what you so willingly give to everybody else in your life. If you think about how you talk to your children, your best friends, your loved ones, it's asking you to give yourself that same energy.
Yeah. And it's funny how we both kind of, I wouldn't say attacked, if that's not the right word, but we've confronted the energy of shame. Because that is ultimately what your triggers and your trauma comes down to. It comes down to some sense of shame somewhere. So me avoiding the fact that, I can be needy, I can be codependent and clingy in certain situations, was like, there's a shame to that. Like, oh my God, I feel so ashamed because I don't see myself like that. For you, with the money situation, feeling shame because if people don't want to come to your event, then there must be something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And we know that shame is saying that there's something wrong with us. Yeah. So there's a part of me that like hates this work, hates the healing work, hates the shadow work. But then there's a part of me that really loves it too. Maybe I'm a masochist. I'm willing to say that.
It's going to be about a year ago, and there's something, I can't remember what it was now, but something had circled back and was like, and it was another lesson on the same issue. And you were like, I've already dealt with this. I've healed this. Why is this here? And I went, babe, this is life. There's always more healing. We're onions. Like as Shrek says, we're layers. We're onions, right? There's always more. It will just circle back around for you to deal with it stronger, healthier, happier, in a better, quicker way. So even when you think you've healed it, it will come back and check.
But because there's like different layers to things. Like, let's say you're dealing with the wound of self-esteem. Well, there's different ways that your self-esteem is impacted. So it's almost like spirit is a very thorough, like practitioner that wants to make sure that you are healed in this aspect of self-esteem and then this aspect of self-esteem. And, what about this? What if we were faced with this? What would you do? And I don't know. I can only hope that maybe this is because I'm going through some kind of intense like spirit guide training. Like that's the only acceptable thing. Like spirit, like when I get on the other side, spirit has to tell me, like, yes, you went through this because you're going to be somebody's spirit guide and you don't have to go back to earth again. Okay.
You'll take that. But I
I
will
can
say,
accept that.
when I told you all this last year, you weren't ready because your reaction to this was, oh, for fuck's sake. So,
Yeah.
there's growth there, right?
There's definitely been a lot of growth. And I feel like just even like, I feel like sometimes like you can, again, like avoid the lesson, but then as soon as it clicks, like the growth that happens is so accelerated that it almost feels like it's unreal. Like, how could you really learn that much or grow that much in that short of time? But when the lesson hits, it hits, you know?
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. I do want to mention, first of all, I want to acknowledge that I'm super proud of you. This has been a whole thing. Of course, I have been with you for a long time, and this is probably the most honest and vulnerable with yourself I think you've ever been in that whole time. So I'm very proud of you. And I just want to say that. But I do want to talk about last night because you and I, for all of our, we love people and we're here to help people and people are awesome. We saw a side of people last night that wasn't so good. And considering we are thousands of miles apart, it's quite interesting that we had a similar experience with other people last night because of time recording this. Last night was Halloween and we both have kids. So out we went, right? And we got to see what other people are like. Now, I know. So for me, so I have my twins, and they're 13 now, but they still want to go trick or treating. I mean, there's going to have to come a cut-off point with this at some point because they don't look 13. Like Alfie is 6 foot. Like seriously, like he's tall. He doesn't. He looks like 15, 16. So it's starting to get a bit like you can see some people open the door being like, okay, it's getting. I want to get my badge saying I'm only 13. But so it was them and one of Izzy's friends, and I took them around on my own. And we have a very well tread route. And towards the end, there was this group. I know that you know this, but for the benefit of the tape, there was this group of people, and there was probably about 6, 7 of them. No, I'm not going to say words of the year. I didn't mean to say 6, 7. I'm going to retract that completely. I'm going to say the 7, 8 of them, not 6, 7. I love that you're looking at me like, what are you talking about right now? The words of the year, according to the dictionary, is 6, 7, which I can't believe Molly's not doing that because it's freaking everywhere at the moment. Kids are saying it everywhere. It's the most annoying thing in the world. It doesn't mean anything. It came from a song. Everyone's going 6, 7. It's so annoying. Anyway,
Milo is truly my son in that aspect of he doesn't jump on bandwagon trends.
He's very lucky because Izzy thinks it's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's not mentioned that, and like also like the skibbity.
Oh,
he never said that.
Like, don't even start on skibbity toilet because that's like the crap as well. Anyway, so yeah, there's this bunch of people, and half of them are kind of looking at them. I would say half of them are kind of in their early 20s, and the other half are kind of like later teenagers. So it's not all kids. It's kind of the point. And I'm walking past with the 3 kids, and a woman threw onto the road what I assumed at the time was a lit cigarette. Like she'd finished and she threw it because you could see the ember as it went. I don't think anything of it. I don't care, whatever. But as we walked past, it went bang like that and I realized it was a firecracker. And it was literally that loud. And I literally jumped out of my skin. I was so, because it's dark, frightened the life out of me. And of course, they laughed and walked off. And then hindsight's a wonderful thing like that in those moments because hindsight makes you go, I should have said something. Yeah. I should have called them out. But of course, time you realize that they're gone. But it was just this moment of like, why is that funny? I know we talked about it, and the whole point was to scare me. It's Halloween, but I don't know. I just feel it's like really irresponsible to me. But maybe that's my age.
No, I don't think that's just you. Because to be honest with you, there are ways to scare people. Like you could, as you're walking by, you could go ooga booga, right, and make people jump. To throw actual firework at somebody feels wildly unresponsible and just dangerous, to be honest with you, because what if something happens? Like, I don't know. It just feels like, yeah, that's one of those things. And it's so funny how like your reaction is like later in hindsight, you wish you would have said something. My reaction is always, Jessica, calm down. You don't need to say anything. You just need to let it go. Let's just keep walking. We're almost at the car. Because I'm the type of person that doesn't have a problem saying anything. So I have to calm myself down in the moment. Don't say anything. You don't want to fight these parents out here at Halloween. Your back is bad. Like, just really, you know what I mean? Like, so that's me. My whole thing last night was walking down the sidewalks, and I have been teaching Milo that when you are walking down the sidewalk and you see somebody coming towards you, you start walking in single file. I always kind of gently put him in front of me, and then we walk so that way everybody can kind of scooch by.
Yeah.
People don't do that, apparently. Apparently what people do is if they're walking in like a group of three, they keep walking in the group of 3 as you're coming, and then they expect you to literally jump out of the way, because if you don't, you will run right into them. It's the entitlement and just lack of manners. Like, and these were, of course, teenagers, which we know, teenagers. I
Yeah.
mean, we already know how teenagers can be. But there's like a grown adults. Like there was grown men that were like literally would have like bulldozed me and knocked me out of the way if I did not move me and my son out of the way so they can come through. And it's like, I don't know. Like and these are adults. So I'm feeling like they were raised in the time that I was raised in. And so they would know like politeness and stuff. Cause I was raised to like have manners. Like,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. No, sir. Thank you. You're welcome. Holding the door open. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you're a man, a woman, a child, we hold the
Yeah.
door open. Like I was
Yeah.
raised with those kind of manners.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, by the end of the night, I was ready to go. I was like, okay. And so was Milo, to be fair. He's not a gluttonous child. So like when his bucket was filled, he was more than happy. He had set a goal for himself that he was going to have half of his bucket filled. So when he had all of his bucket filled, I even told him, I was like, I can put some candy in my purse and we can keep going. He's like, no, my bucket's filled. I'm like, you're such an angel. You're such a freaking angel. You know what I mean? But so yeah, we went ahead and we were like going, I was like, I'm ready to go home after this. Because it's just the lack of manners.
Mm-hmm.
And like kids running up to the door and like pushing other kids out of the way. It's like, and I'm teaching Milo, like, you know, hang back, wait till it's less crowded, give it time. Make sure you say trick or treat. You know, you're not just deserving of candy. You have to say the words. And then also make sure that you say thank you. And like, he was so cute because he'd run back to me from the houses and he'd be like, I said thank you. I'm like, oh, fucking love you so much. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and I know all parents say, oh, my kid's awesome, but really like Milo is awesome. So yeah, but even with all of that bullcrap to the side and like, you know, how people can be, it still is the best Halloween that we ever had, like in my opinion, since he's been here. What, this is 8th Halloween.
Yeah.
It's the best that we've ever had. It was so much fun.
Can you talk about that? Because you guys have done in the past a thing called trunk or treat, which we don't have in the UK. Look, at least what I'm aware of, anyway. So for those that aren't familiar with a trunk or treat, what is the trunk or treat?
So the trunk or treat can be, it's not just like for safety concerns or wanting people to not come to your house. It's also because like in some places like where I live, there's very rural areas.
Yeah.
And so you'll go a house that does trick-or-treating and then like you'll go 10 houses that don't do it and then another house. And it's like, so let's just consolidate and get everybody together. And usually it's held by somebody from the city, whether it's the sheriff's department or, you know, whatever, you know, and we'll all go in the parking lot. People will decorate their cars and they'll have music and then the kids line up and they go to each venue and they do their trick-or-treating basically, which is okay. But then it's like, it gives me the feeling of like Black Friday.
Yeah.
Because everybody's in line waiting and you spend most of your time just waiting in line.
Yeah.
I don't like the trunk or treat, to be honest. Like, it's not my favorite thing because I grew up where everybody did trick or treating.
Yeah.
Like every house in the neighborhood would give out candy. But of course, candy also wasn't $15 fucking a bag. And you need like what, 6 bags? You do the math. We already know I'm not good at math. So you do the math. It's a lot of fucking money.
A lot of money. So what? It's about $80.
That would be the answer on that. That would be the answer on that exam. How much is 15 times 6? A lot of fucking money. Okay, that I don't want to spend. But no, so you know, I was really blessed because we had the suspicion because like getting close to Halloween, right by Milo's school, there were some houses that were setting up decorations already. And I was like, oh, okay, these people are into Halloween and this is a nice little consolidated neighborhood. I think this is going to be the spot. And so I went with my instincts and we did not do the trunk or treat that was available in the main part of the city. There were people doing that. We went ahead and walked around and we really did hit the jackpot. Like it was a whole neighborhood of houses that set up like haunted houses outside where the kids could walk through and they gave out candy. There were even people that were doing mobile trick-or-treating where they'd ride around in their car and they'd be like, hey, come get candy. It was honestly like I already really liked this town because of the small town vibes, but it really like solidified that I really do actually like this town a lot, you know? Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Christmas is about because I know that they do a Christmas parade here. So we're going to see how that goes. But yeah, it was just lots of fun. And it was nice to be able to give him that experience of trick-or-treating and not just waiting in a line.
Absolutely. Something more old school, as it were. So
yeah, I mean, it was very nostalgic. I mean, I don't know, did you ever go trick-or-treating when you were younger?
Yeah. Not in the way they do now. There was, so where I grew up, there was Scouts. I don't know, yeah, they have Scouts in America, don't they? Yeah, of course they do. Yeah, there was a Scouts hut in the park near where I lived, and they would put on like a Halloween party. It wasn't really a party, but they would do like apple bobbing and, you know, have people dress up. And so, I mean, this was the 80s, right? So we would go to that. My costume, I was telling the kids about this. They didn't believe me. It was like, seriously, my costume for years was a trash bag with a hole in the top, right? A plastic, really like crappy black plastic witch's hat, which probably would be like 50p, which is like what, $1, and those horrible latex witch's fingers that make your fingers sweat and glow in the dark, and they've got fingernails on them. You just put them on your fingers like that. That was my costume for about 5 years, every year.
Did your mom just like take off the trash bag, fold it up, put it in the closet? Like,
I would say it was a clean trash bag. She didn't just like empty the trash bin and go, yeah, okay, wear that.
Oh, like I'm just wondering if she recycled the trash bag. Like, did you use the same trash
no,
bag?
I mean, there's a massive hole in it where my head was, so no, it wouldn't have really worked. But yeah, I would say it didn't have like banana peels on it and like, you know, potatoes going down the sleeve. It was clean, but still, yeah.
That is hilarious to me. But I mean, that's honestly like back in the day. That was how costumes were. Like you made your costumes homemade.
Yeah.
You know, now you spend $20, $30, $40 on a costume. It's just everything is like. And I don't want to get into a rant here because Jesus Lord, we could get into some rants about life and everything is freaking consumerism and buy and indulge. And it's just like, ugh, you know. But that's what it is. It's like, you know, like Milo's costume, I spent like $20 on it. He will never wear this costume again. So what I'm going to do, I put it in the closet, like all of the accessories and everything. And what I'm going to do is next Halloween, I'm going to get on Swip Swap and I'm going to give it to somebody who needs a costume because he's never going to wear it again.
Yeah, that's the thing. Izzy wanted to be Rumi from K-pop Demon Hunters. I know you don't know who that is, but basically she's got this very iconic outfit on, and she's got this very long purple plait braid. And it's like, so she wanted the whole wig, she wanted the whole thing. So of course I'm trying to accommodate her and trying to get an adult size as well, because although she's 13, she's not in kids' clothes anymore. For me to get a decent costume would have cost me around about $100 for the whole thing, and I'm like, I am not paying that. I am not paying that. So in the end, she was basically a corpse zombie bride thing, and her dress was it came with a veil. It was really cute, even though it was spooky. It was cute, and it cost, I think, an equivalent of about $25. So it's like,
yeah, and she looked super cute. Like she looked like a kid going trick or treating. You know what I mean? When she gets older, she can do the whole theatrical costume with the face paint and the wigs and all that, and she'll see like it's not, you know, it's overrated basically. Milo is just like me. He can be very indecisive. He does the eeny meeny miny mo when he has to choose anything, because if not, he'll go back and forth forever. So he lets fate decide. So when I asked him like, what do you want to be for Halloween, he was like, I don't really know. So what I did was go find 5 options on Amazon of what I was willing to pay, what I thought was appropriate and acceptable. And I said, choose one of these. And he chose the cop. So that's how we settle disputes in this house. If you don't know, I will give you the options still, but I'm going to narrow it down, you know?
I can't do that with Izzy because she still go, I don't know, right? Yeah. So, you know, it is what it is. But hey, it worked out in the end, and that's the main thing.
Well, Izzy, for reference for anybody listening, Izzy is a Gemini.
She is, and she's also an autistic pubescent Gemini, so it's a hot mess.
And I resonate with that. I'm maybe not the autism part, but I resonate with that whole thing. Milo is a Scorpio, so he's a fixed sign. So once he's decided, that is it. I've decided, and that's it. He's actually quite stubborn. So
I know. It's fun.
Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this just free flow of podcasts. I actually really enjoyed this. I think that maybe that should be something we do more often.
Yeah, just like a catch up of our lives and stuff going on, because we always have something going on. Just the nature of life, right? So yeah, it is.
I told you I would be out of coffee and still talking about.
She is, and I'm happy that I haven't coughed too much, because you girls got a chesty cough at the moment, so it kept at bay, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good to kind of give an insight and just chat about things, because again, although we talk all the time, it's nice to actually get into it and have space for it, you know?
Yeah, because we don't actually talk like in depth like this.
No,
we send voice notes back and forth that are like a minute to 2 minutes, or sometimes in my case 5 minutes.
You know the stuff going down. If it's over a 10-minute message, I open it and I'm like, oh God, what happened now?
I just be like, blah, 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 blah. Like, well, anyways, I'm babbling. Look how time flies. I'll talk to you soon. And I just send it, like, whatever. That's your fee for being a best friend. You have to listen to me talk.
That's true. It's all good though. It's not like I ever go like, oh, you know. Oh, bless you. Well, look, guys, thank you for watching this. We hope that you've enjoyed it. We hope that you've taken something from it, right? Even if it was entertainment. And just thank you for being here with us. And we love you.